hello, 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 hello. I can't stop me now. Stop, Fox. Hello, welcome one and all. It's Fox. You may remember me from such streams as the one we did yesterday. Yes, hello, welcome to this ad hoc last minute live stream. As you know, there's no e-model stream tonight for various reasons, so I thought I'll capitalise on it and just take an hour of the evening, give you something to watch for an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half, something like that. Not a long stream tonight, because I'm a bit tired. So we'll just go for an hour or so. I'm going to crack on with the sponsons, carry on with the sponsons that we were working on yesterday. Welcome one and all. Before we get going though, always I like to get my thank yous out of the way. So before we get going, first and foremost, to all my lovely patrons and channel members, the people who make this channel possible, make it possible for me to do this for my living, my patrons and lovely channel members, my patrons who became patrons over at patreon.com/model making guru, and my channel members who joined this channel just by clicking the join button at the bottom of any one of my videos. They support me financially, they keep this channel alive, and I do thank them massively for it. Without them, this channel wouldn't exist and I wouldn't be here. But there you go. And also to my corporate sponsors, emodels.co.uk and goblingaming.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making and tabletop gaming needs. Links in the description below the video. Use those links. It tells them I sent you and it helps them out, and it helps me out because I get a bit of income from that. So use those links. Anyway, yes, welcome one and all. As always, if you're watching this, I've got the archive of the chat here, which is slowly filling up. If you want to join in the live chat, you're more than welcome to. I do recommend it because these streams, especially right now, given what happened an hour and a half ago, yes, basically we all need to keep each other company. So you'll see me, Chris and Colin and the rest of the gang, Ted, doing a lot more live streams, I suspect, like we did a few months ago, just to keep you guys company and give you a place to hang out and chat and cheer each other up. So yeah, it's all about the chats. If you want to, you are more than welcome to join the live chat. You don't have to, but it would be cool if you did, because all the kids in chat are awesome and cool, and it's the best place to be. So do come and join the live chat. If you don't know where the live chat is, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's just there on the right hand side. It's over here somewhere, just off to the side of the viewer. If you're watching it embedded in Facebook or Twitter or somewhere else, just click on the YouTube icon that's down in the bottom right hand corner down here somewhere. That'll take you to YouTube, where you can continue to watch the video and you can join the live chat. So do come and do that. Now I'm going to quickly check my computer because the fans are screaming at me. 1 second. Let's have a look and see what it's complaining about. Nothing. There's nothing running it hot. I think the fans are just being loud. Okay. Cool, I don't care. That's fine. As long as they're not exploding, that's fine. Yeah, sometimes my fan is really loud and sometimes it's quite quiet, but I think it needs another clean out. For at one point, it was running really hot and getting really loud and screamy. I hoovered it out and it was fine after that. It took 20 degrees off the running temperature because there was so much chud on the heat sink for the CPU. I'm like, oh, I'll just get rid of that crap off there, shall I? Soon perfect. So I might need to hoover it out again. Never mind. Yes, anyway, welcome. We're going to be carrying on with the Baneblade. I thought I may as well. It was still out on the desk, so I thought I may as well just crack on with it. I did 2 sponsons yesterday. So we've got 2 more to do. They're not finished yet because they need turrets on the top, but we'll set them out in a bit. But yeah, we've got 2 more sponsons to do. So I've got myself some water. Yum, yum. The live chat is here, says Chris at Gross Models. He says it there. Exactly. Colin at Festa 67's workshop is in as well. Welcome, Colin. Evening. We have the Raging Model and Mayhem Model Works are both in. That means Carnage probably for the both of them too. B3 is in. I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. I can't quite say it like Oppenheimer did with that kind of gravitas, but near enough. Hugo Source Collector is in. Hello guys, says Hugo. Welcome, Hugo. Nice to see you. We have, like I said, Chris at Gross Models. Well, so we've got Paul Di Tommaso is in, just a couple of grand. I could use a couple of $100 grand because Chris said, can anybody lend me $1,000? A couple of grand. Graham McRobert is in. Hi Fox and everyone else. Welcome Graham. Ghost Lyle says, hello everyone. Pineapple. Yes. Space Hamster ZH and Paul Lyons are both in. Welcome to you too. Brian Wimmel is in. Welcome Brian. See, it's all the people that would normally watch the Monday show. They're all at a loss now because there's no Monday evening Eve model show. So I'm around. Come on, watch me instead. 9001 Ostriches says hello. The funny thing is now, if the funny thing would be now if Ted started calling 9001 Ostriches Osric 9000. That's his original name. It'd be funny if Ted suddenly started getting it right. Killer Chief 187 is in. Welcome, Killer Chief. Like I said, Colin at Festa 67's workshop's in. Graham McRobert, we've done. Frankie goes to Hobbywood. Hey, Frankie. Killer Chief 187 as well says, keep moist. And Colin's saying hello to everybody. Yes, as I say, there is no e-model show tonight for various reasons, technical reasons and other reasons. Plus, we did a show over on the bank holiday over Christmas, so it's kind of a fair trade, take a day off for a day off. But there were some other technical reasons we couldn't do one anyway. So I thought I may as well capitalise. Where are we? So, yes, we're going to do some sponsoniums. We did some sponsoniums last time, so I've got to do 2 more. So this is not the sprue I need. This is not the sprue you're looking for. And thankfully, they were quite simple to make yesterday as well. And I'm quite simple, so simple is good. So I hope you're all well. If you're in the UK, yes, as you found out, we are... I'm not going to discuss it openly for fear of my monetization being killed. So, yeah, let's not talk about it directly because YouTube seems to kill monetization. And when you do a live stream, the monetization is all about there and then, not what happens when you repeal it 2 days later. But yes, we have had notification of a restriction to our everyday life again, like we did earlier in the year. So yes, that's going to be interesting. We're back where we were last March, basically. So do feel free to come along and hang out in the chat with the guys and girls. Maybe cheer yourself up with silly times in there. I've not got my lenses on. As always, like I was saying before, do come and join the live chat. I've got my lenses on now, my little magnifying lenses. So the chat will be a blur. As you can see, Guthorm and Squishy are keeping an eye on the chat over here. But if you want to catch my attention, my vision will be blurred. That will all be a big blur now I've got these lenses on. So if you want to get my attention in chat, please do put your comments in big fat capital letters so I have a chance to see it amongst the blurring. Or if you want to, you can do a super chat. And to do that, you just simply click on the little dollar symbol that's at the bottom of the chat window. That puts your comment in a big coloured box that stands out a mile. You'll see it on the chat there. And also, indirectly, or rather directly, by coincidence, you are also helping out this channel because it's a little bit of income for me. So you are helping out the channel at the same time. So feel free to do a super chat if you wish. Now, need to get these cleaned up and we'll get it glued together. Decorating my pores to airbrush, aka my fingers, says Graham, and then he says, hey, I meant defrosting my pores. Near enough. Raging Modeler says, apparently it's 120 days until my Orc Commemorative Edition Mini arrives because my local shop is closed. Dope. Yeah. We actually, Mama Fox and I, anticipating that something would happen this evening, we actually placed a shopping order through Amazon Prime now, this afternoon. So we have to hope that still turns up tomorrow between 3 and 5 because, you know, we've got no bread left and shopping and food and things. Now we are okay because it doesn't really make too much of a difference for Mama Fox and I because Mama Fox doesn't go anywhere, really, not very often. And I'm a homebody anyway. I don't tend to go anywhere if I can help it, so we can get our shopping online. So we're going to be fine. We do have enough brown rice to survive like 6 months. The worst comes to the worst. If we get empty store shelves again, we can just live off rice for like 6 months. We'll be fine. Even if there's nothing else left, I bought enough rice by accident that, yeah, brown rice forever. Because who'd have thought, right, that a bag of brown rice this big is enough for like 6 months? I didn't know. I'd never made brown rice. I'd never made rice before that didn't come in a packet that went in the microwave. I got myself some brown rice because we've got a rice cooking thing. And it's like, dear Lord, I've bought 3 or 4 bags of that. It's going to last me for years. Good job, I like brown rice. Yes. I don't know. Don't do the cooking. All kind of weird and strange start of last year. So we shall see. Anyway, let's move on from this conversation. I do fear for my income when we talk about such matters. I hope you are all well, though. I hope you're all having a jolly good evening. And not too sad that there's no e-model show, I hope. So I won't go for, you know, a load of hours. I won't be going to the small hours of the morning, but I'll go for an hour or two, maybe. See how it goes. But we're just going to crack on with these sponsors, as always. I shall ask the question, unless Dad's in chat. Is Dad in? No, Dad's not in yet. So I won't ask the question yet. I don't know if Dad will be turning up at some point. But if not, then I'll let maybe Colin can ask the question. Feel free to dive in. Colin, then I don't get shouted at for making Dad redundant. But I hope you've had, despite everything else, I hope you've had a good Monday so far today. Right, sanding time, isn't it? Yes, it's sanding times. It's funny how all my sanding sponges have the grit on them, but because I've got my lenses on, I can't really see when they're over on the side of the desk. So I grab them and do that, and I'm like, right, that's about 400 grit. I grab that one. Yeah, that's the 200 grit. This one, what's this one? This one's going to be, this is the 600 grit. Yeah, I can kind of guess by the feel of it. Kind of weird. Kind of strange. I'm doing it by touch rather than just looking at the number. But hey, it works, it works. So, yes, hope you've all been well today. I've been doing some bits and bobs today. Nothing really exciting, nothing to reveal, no news or anything like that, so nothing too exciting to talk about. I've been playing a new game on the Xbox though, a silly little game. I do the I just started a sentence with for it is so that I do the Microsoft Points rewards thing. A little prosaic then. Yeah, I do the Microsoft Points rewards thing. I keep meaning to do it and I never got round to it and I kept not doing it, but I'm doing it properly now. Just so it gets me free Xbox Gold every month. I don't have to pay for Xbox. I got a thing a month ago saying, you're due to renew your 12-month Xbox Gold subscription. And I'm like, not if I can help it, because I can't afford it. So I started doubling down on all the Microsoft points. And I should be able to get enough points each month to not have to pay for Xbox Live ever. It's something like 6,500 points for 1 month of Gold. And you can just about get 6,500 points if you do all the little tasks they do each day. So I've been doing those. But some of them you get like big numbers of points for things. If you get like an achievement, you get 50 points if you get an achievement that day. And I haven't really got any games that I can rattle through and get quick achievements. But I quite like 50 points. So I'm going through the free games list because I don't want to spend any money. I'm going through all the free games on Xbox Live. And there's one called Island Savers. And I'm like, because all of them are like, it's all like Fortnite and all these kind of, I'm like, I don't want to play that. I just want some quick, simple achievements. I got a few simple achievements out of Duke Nukem 3D because I hadn't played that on Xbox yet. So I've got a couple out of that. And one of them was quite simply to activate cheats. You got 10 gamer score. So I'm like, I get an achievement for going, done, I'm having that. But I started playing this game. I went through the free games and they were all a bit garbage. I didn't really fancy any of them. I know I'm only doing it for but some of them I looked at the achievement list and it's like, you know, it's going to take me days to get any achievements in some of these games. But then I saw this Island Savers and it looked very childish and I thought, well, it can't be that hard. It looks like a game for kids. Silly little platformy thing or whatever. It's going to be harmless. I can play it for a day or two and just trot it out in the morning and play it for half an hour and get an achievement, and that's me 50 Microsoft space monies. And I have to tell you, it's bizarre because it's a game by NatWest Bank. It's a game created by NatWest Bank. I mean, you know, that NatWest Bank. It's a game made by a bank. And it's designed basically to teach kids about saving money, how banks work, how money works, the perils of loan sharks. It's basically dead simple financial advice, but in a game. And when I say that to you, you'd be like, oh God, really? This is going to be terrible. You know, you get flashbacks to the Burger King games and the other advertising type games that are always garbage. But I have to tell you, even though it's a children's game and it's quite simple and stylized, it's actually really good. It's bizarrely quite good. It's a really simple game, but it's quite addictive. It's completely adorable. It's in places quite funny. And it's actually quite an effective way, I think, of teaching kids about money and fiscal responsibility. Because not only do you like earn money in the game, like gold coins, you also have to put them into a bank account. There are situations where you have to take a loan out, so it explains a loan to you. You've got to pay it back. There's a situation where you get exposed to a loan shark and you're given the choice of either getting a loan or going to the loan shark, and you have to go into the deal with the loan shark. You get no choice. But it's only afterwards you find out the consequences of the deal with the loan shark, who is, of course, a shark. And there's other things, and it's quite an adorable game, but there's so much pooping in the game. Everything poops. I can't explain to you how much everything poops. It's like, wow. And at one point, basically, poop becomes material that you use in the game to create things. It's like, this is a game about teaching kids how to have a bank account. It's a blatant advert game from NatWest, and it's actually really, really good, and it's completely free. So if, I assume it's on other platforms as well, but if you get a chance and you want some easy gamer score, and if you do your Microsoft points thing, your Microsoft reward points, go and download Island Savers. It costs you nothing, and it's actually quite charming. It is actually it's quite fun as well, despite it being for small children. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm a 50-year-old bloke, and I'm learning about loan sharks, and there's a machine where you can get different currencies and put them into this currency exchange machine that you get different currencies like yen and dollars and stuff from various creatures, and you have to deposit them in the exchange machine to give you the gold coins. But the value of each currency changes all the time, and you have to watch it and then make sure the currency you're changing is at its highest point, and then put your coins in, and it's really quite charming, but it's actually quite fun. And it's not a hard way to earn simple achievements. So you'll get 1,000 gamer score. And basically, I think I can play it each day for maybe half an hour, and I'll probably get an achievement, which will get me 50 gamer score. So if you are doing the Microsoft reward things, I do recommend you get it just for the easy gamer score. Basically, if you've not tried the Microsoft rewards, the way it works is that each day you go to the rewards page, and you just have simple tasks to do, like 30 searches using Microsoft Bing gets you, so many points. 12 searches in Microsoft Edge using Microsoft Bing. So just do a search, ABC, ABCD, whatever. So many searches in Edge or in Bing on mobile. So you just do so many. It's like 20 searches in Bing, 6 searches in Edge, 20 searches in Edge on the mobile, and then a couple of clicky things on the Xbox, and you've earned 1,000 points or 500. Fake's not Microsoft gamer score, it's just points. If you get 6,800 of them, you can redeem them, and I'm using it to basically get every few weeks a free month of Xbox Live, so I'll hopefully never have to pay for it ever again. That would be fantastic. Right, so especially right now while money's tight, if you want a free way to get Xbox Live, that's your way to do it. That's the way to do it. We have an weapon that we made yesterday. We have an bits of the housing for the is it pauldron then? Not pauldron, for the sponson. I've given up on the bit of glass plating to keep it all lined up. I think I'll be alright. I think we'll live. That goes there, like that, like that, you'll see. So yeah, Island Savers, if you just want an easy way to earn some achievement points and get some fake Microsoft money to get yourself free Xbox Live, or you can redeem it for other things if you want to. You can go into sweepstakes and all kinds of things, but you just want an easy way to do it. It's quite a charming little game. And if you just want a quick game to play just to distract yourself for half an hour. Although, you could actually get quite a lot of gameplay, because you can go slowly. It's not a I did the first level and thought it'll just be this little half-hour long game that's really nothing at all. And I finished it, and it was like, that's the first of 3 islands. Oh, it's not quite a tiny little game. And there's like 3 islands, but there's another 2 islands that you have to pay for. I'm like, oh, okay, they've got some paid for content. Okay, that's a bit more grown up. It's not completely free. There are things you can pay for. Right, that's not a perfect fit in that corner, but I think I'll live. Put that gun in there. Make sure it's the right way up, folks. Don't get upside down, you spoon. That sits in there. That sits in there. And then we glue it all together. Let's glue it all together now. Yeah, so anyway, I hope everyone is okay and doing okay today. I hope the news Hasn't impacted you too much. As you know, normally on a Monday night, Chris, Ted, Colin and I do the eModels Monday show. But for various reasons we couldn't this evening. Now, we've always said, and we're always happy to, we always explain quite easily that we don't work for eModels. We're not employed by them, so I can't tell you if anything has changed at eModels given tonight's news. Probably not. Probably carry on as normal, so just assume everything's normal at eModels for the time being. Assume that nothing has changed. That is upside down. You dingleberry. Oh no, yep, that is pretty much upside down. You absolute chundermuffin. I knew I'd done it wrong. I knew I'd done it wrong, but I still did it wrong anyway. That's how I knew I'd done it wrong, because I was doing it. Let us repair this incorrectitude. There we go. I had it upside down like a spoon. Fuck you, spoon. As long as you're fast, you can fix anything. Yes. Don't be like me. There we go. So that was nicely fixed by me. Nicely recovered. Nobody ever... You didn't see any of that. Nobody noticed that. There was nothing to see there. So we have 2 sponsons created. We've got one on the back here. I'll put the lid on the glue for obvious reasons. One on the back here, one on the back here. So this one should now be another one for this end. Like that. It sits on that side. Or I could put it in the middle there. Or I could have all 3 on one side. Well, I can't have all 3 on one side actually. It could go on this side, but it will face that way. Because that bit has to go into that hole. So it wouldn't really work on that. I mean, it would, but it wouldn't. Now, I have to say, I'm making 4 sponsons, but it does look a bit bulky with... We'll get the other one done. This is where I might decide not to have 4 sponsons on it. I don't know. I mean, I'm making 4 anyway, and I'm not going to glue them on. I'm going to have them simply push fit. So, we shall see. I'll get the other one made anyway. Let's put that over there. A swig of the water and quick look at chat. Now, the other thing about Island Savers... Yes, it's a kiddie game. It's for little children. It's very charming. The music is totally chill. The music I was doing... What was I doing? When I was placing the order through Astra Prime now, earlier on my shopping order, which took about 20 minutes, I had it on the in-game menu, was on pause. And it's this little tiny tune that repeats over and over. And it's so chilled. It's just... Oh, great. And there's some delightful little sounds in there. The sound when a bush... drops its fruit on the floor. The plants drop fruit and you pick up the fruit and give it to the animals. The little noise it makes is quite adorable. There's some pleasing noises in that game, let's put it that way. Everything poops. I mean, everything. There's pooping all the time. Everything's pooping. There's all kinds of animals and they're all pooping. All of them. All. It's all about pooping. And it's like you're walking along and something. Oh, and some of the animations for the animals when they poop is just hilarious. There's some acrobatics. Let's just say some of the pooping animations involve certain levels of acrobatics. I was going to have a look at the chat, wasn't I? Where are we? Let's have a look. If you have flour bread, it's easy to make, says Lord Barkley. Welcome, Lord Barkley. If you have flour, so I'll read that again. If you have flour, bread is easy to make. We don't have flour. You eat that much rice, you will never be able to look at a curry again. I like rice there. Surprise stream? Right before I go off to work too, says Nim. Almost. Good plan, says Killer Chief. Hey, Nim. Link the Bing search engine with your Xbox account and just spend a day searching random stuff, as every search is worth 10 points. You only need so many, though. You only need like I think it's 30 searches on Bing and then 6 searches on Bing on Microsoft Edge. If you do more than that, you're wasting your time. But here's a little trick for you. Make your first search FGF, because then it auto-complete and it gives you, and the next option in the list is FGFG, and then the next one of that is FGFGFG, and you only have to type FGF, and then each time you just click on the next one down, and you can do them really quickly. You don't have to sit there and literally do searches like for word. Just it doesn't really care what you search for. There's little quizzes and things, but it's quite good fun. Everybody poops, says Chris. What game is this? It says the Raging Model. It's called Island Savers. It is God's honest truth, a game by Nat Westbank. It's blatantly a game by Nat Westbank. And the worst bit is, not only do they teach you how to, it's like I can't really explain it, but it also includes, not only does it have a loan shark and a con man, there's also a tax collector. They try to make the tax collector adorable. Yeah, he just comes in and takes your stuff, and you're like, oh, I don't like, oh, there's a tax collecting robot, and it's like, oh, you fascist, oh, yeah. But the funny thing is, there's situations in the game where, as a kid, you're just collecting things. It's just a collecting game, really. But as an adult, I'm sitting there, and a tree will drop its fruit, and the animal will come along and eat it. But I can pick up the fruit and sell it to this guy called Pigsby, who has a little shop, and he'll give me money for the fruit. So I'm running along saying, get out of my way, animals, I'm taking all your food supply because I'm selling it for cold hard cash and you can starve to death. It's kind of teaching you capitalism. The animals may starve, but you'll have money in your account. And at one point, Pigsby said, oh, there's an upgrade available for your gun, for your weapon thing, because you're clearing up rubbish off beaches and things. There's an upgrade available for your gun. Oh, you can't quite afford it. Maybe you should take out a loan, and then you have to apply for a loan. It's like, oh, God damn it. It's a bit too realistic. Oh, I've got a very runny nose as well. I do apologise. I'm just dealing with a runny nose at the minute. But yes, it's just adorable. It's a good way to get easy achievement points. But trust me, even hardcore gamers will find it appealing. If not for some of the noises. Oh, sniffles, I do apologise. There's one animal, I can't remember which one it is now. There is... Is it an otter or is it a goat or something? There's some animal that makes the most adorable noise. I think it's a... It might not be a goat. It's just... Actually, you'll find out. You'll find out. Oh, one of the best noises, you get... Each level, each island, you get an animal that you can ride around on like a steed. The first one you get is a rhino. And the noise the rhino makes when you're riding, or when it walks or moves around, or when you're riding on it, is just incredibly awesome. Excellent. Raging Model's going to check that out on PS4. It's quite a good chilled game as well. It's a no consequences game. There's no killing and death or anything like that. You can't really fail. As Fox started talking about it, but then stopped. Well, Dad isn't in, as far as I can tell. So I'm going to ask the question: what's in your bench and what's on your belly? Yes. That's the wrong way around. What's on your bench? What you're working on, and what's in your belly? What did you have for your dinner? Paul Line says, belly, spicy chicken with curly fries and a gammon joint in the oven. Bench, Spitfire and Messerschmitt double pack I won a few weeks ago. Oh, you did as well, didn't you? B3 says, belly was homemade by me. Cottage pie benches now, because can't be bothered. Raging Model has got Judge Dredd on the bench on his Lawmaster and a Mortisan Bone Shaper. Belly, sausages. B3 says that the current situation will make no difference at all to the Groundhog Day of his existence. Fox, same nonsense, different day, rinse and repeat. Yeah. Lord Barkley said he's got Crohn's, had to come out of the army because of it. I'm sorry to hear that. I used to work with a guy, one of my mates I used to work with had Crohn's. It crippled him sometimes. Not pleasant. All the best, dude. Raging Modeler says, Sponsons! You should have some backwards-facing weaponage in case a mad orc decides to attack your rear. Steady, Neris. I suppose you could, theoretically, have them that way. We could have one that way. And one for... you could have... Oh, that's not... Oh, I never thought of that. You could mix and match. Have one facing forward at the front and one facing backwards by swapping them round. It would look a bit weird because they wouldn't be lined up properly. I think it's just heresy, isn't it? I'm just being heretical now. But in true Warhammer style, I should have them blocking each other in, because that's typical Warhammer to get them wrong like that. I'll put that over there again. Mayhem isn't feeling great. He will catch the stream on rerun. He sends his apologies, says Raging Modeler. Oh, sorry, Mayhem. Take care, my friend. He was in earlier, but I guess he's not feeling very good. So you've played the Avatar game for easy achievements too, says Raging Modeler. No, I never tried that. That's the one where you just go left and it's like 1,000 gamer score or something. I don't think I could bring myself... Or did I? How about... I know it was one of them legendary games because that's going way back to the original Xbox 360 days. And it was one of those games that if you want 1,000 points within 5 minutes, it was like one achievement for 1,000 points and it was ridiculous. And everybody used to take the mickey out of it. And it was like a badge of shame if you had it on your achievements list. Everybody knew you were just getting the easy achievements. But it then got to the point where people were like, you know what, I just want the 1,000 achievement points. I can deal with the stigma of having it on my list, but I don't think I ever did. I certainly didn't buy the game. I don't know if it's ever come up on Games with Gold. Can you play it co-op? Shall we play it tomorrow? Can someone push someone else off things, says Chris at Chris Models. No, you can't play it co-op, but yes, you can fall off things into the water. Not that exciting. Ugh. What was the... Oh... There was an animal and it made a cute noise. I can't remember what it was now. It was something anyway. A cute animal. Get better soon, Mayhem. Take care, my friend. Don't be poorly sick. That's rubbish. Right, let's do the other sponsor. Sponsor. Yes, it's a jolly good fun little game. I'm basically milking it now for achievements each day. Because you have to do you don't have to do the Microsoft reward points every day, but if you keep doing it, if you do it day after day, you get like a bonus after, 5 days or 7 days or 2 weeks, whatever, you get extra points. Like I've got a 7-day streak going, and if I do it again tomorrow, that's 7 days straight in a row, I get an extra 75 points, which is nice. I just cashed in my achievement from earlier on today and got 50 points. And I turned on my TV, turned on the Xbox while the pre-roll was going before the stream started to just cash in that achievement. And my TV said, oh, there's a software upgrade. Do you want to do it now? And I'm like, what? Since when? I was kind of shocked that my TV's like 3 years old. And with most like televisions and stuff nowadays, you buy it and you never ever get a software update. And it's a Samsung. It's like most TVs and things, you don't ever get updates. They never bother. They give you the option, but it's a smart TV. They never bother. And I think it's the first time in 3 years it's actually told me there's an update. I'm like, really? Since when do TV manufacturers update models that are more than 6 months old? I was surprised. Unless it's some major vulnerability they've just noticed in all their models. I've got the tune from Island Savers in my head now, the holding music. It's quite chill. It's a delightful... It's absolutely free. I would recommend, just go and get it. If you don't like it, you just delete it. But it's absolutely free. It's a charming little game. And it's a fun way to just play for a few hours. A relaxing way. Just chill out. And you might learn about monies. Do 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 do. It is amazing that it's actually a free game. It's the quality of it. Like I say, when you compare things to like the Burger King game that came out, which was unabashed garbage, and the Doritos game, the Doritos Challenge game that came out all those years ago, that was also unabashed garbage. And yeah, this one's actually pretty good. They got a proper developer to make it, I think. Rather than make it in-house. I can see somebody's put my name in chat, so I'll have a look in a second. And I've not got a Stabberty in my hand. I have several easy game score games, each 1,000 points. I have no shame, says Raging Modeler. Well, when it comes to Microsoft points, the reward scheme, I probably have no shame either. It's just... I don't want the whole point of me doing the reward points is to get free Xbox Live, so I don't have to pay for it, because money's tight right now. And if I cannot pay for Xbox Live, if I cannot plonk down the 50 quid or whatever for another year of Xbox Live, I'll be quite happy. So, but I don't want to buy a game and spend, X monies to then get free Xbox Live, because it kind of negates the whole point. And a lot of the things that you get points for are like, spend this much on movies and TV, TV shows and movies. Well, I'm not going to spend £35 to get £10 of Xbox Live. That's stupid. So I'm limited to all the free things I can do to get points, which I think is just enough to get free Xbox Live each month. I'm like 2 weeks ahead of me direct debit to take my Xbox Live out, because it said, we'll be taking your Xbox Live payment in 1 day. And then the next day it was like, we'll be taking your Xbox Live payment in 1 month, because I'd just cashed in my a month's worth of points. So I just beat the clock. Did my favourite, my best Annika Rice stop the clock impression. Right, so that's the bottom. That's where I went wrong last time. I did the top bit first, like a spoon. I've got the tune in my head. I've got the menu idle music tune in my head, and it's quite captivating. I'm doing this. I've not even cleaned up the... I can't do that yet. I've not cleaned up this bit yet. Simpleton. You absolute simpleton. You fool. You foolish fool. Are you only allowed to play survival games at density, Chris? Your viewing public has spoken. Trust me, you'd like to watch Island Savers just for everything pooping. What about puzzle games in VR? Okay, then, seeing as it's you, says B3. William Rayborn's in. Hello, everyone. Well, hello, William. I'm strangely hooked on Ghost Recon Wildlands right now. Went in with low expectations and I'm loving it. Yeah. I think that is one of those games that if you go in with, if you set your standards really low, it'll often fail to achieve those, but you'll be a lot happier. I'm amazed how, like, games that I would play 10 or 15 years ago, I can't play now. Like Black, EA's Black. You remember Criterion's first-person shooter, Black? Came out in about 2006 or 7. And it was supposed to be like gun porn for the shooter fans. When it came out, I thought it was brilliant. Even didn't have iron sights, but iron sights was still a relatively new concept at that point. But going back and playing it now, oh dear Lord, it's just no. But you know, when I used to play Black, I'd play it and there'd be tough bits, but you get used to them, and after a while you could just breeze through each map. And all the little, you know, especially the very final level, which was quite tough. But I did it. No real problems. Tried doing it about a year ago. I thought I'll go back and play Black. I couldn't even get to the final level. The final map with the, you know, the final length. I couldn't even get that far. I just couldn't play it anymore. It was too demanding. I'm like, I'm too old. Either I'm too old or I've just lost the abilities, but I couldn't go back. But the lack of iron sights, you just look at it now and you're like, oh God, oh. But I still say it had one of the most satisfying headshot effects of any game. It's going to sound and a little spark, so you know when you've got a headshot on someone. Which I think is second only, or very close second to the headshots in Medal of Honor Airborne, which have a proper kind of ptunk, like something dropping into a metal bucket sound. Yeah, to let you know you've got a headshot. I appreciate things like that. That one. I know what I do need to do, which I didn't do, I don't think. Or do I not need to? Didn't clean up the scrapey on one of these. Which was the one I just made, though? I can't remember now. Oh, well, I don't know. We'll find out. It'll all come out in the wash. I've still got the music from Island Savers in my head. It's that catchy. It's one of those games that the rating wouldn't even say mild threat and violence. It's not even got that. It's a simple game. It's not a hard game at all. There are enemies, but they're very easily defeated. It's not really challenging. There are no difficulty levels. That kind of game. Nasty, nasty moulding on this piece. Remember I said yesterday about it looked like if it was a resin kit there'd be mould slip. That's kind of what it looks like here. Not very pleasant. But there's nothing I can do about it. Not without redoing all the rivets, and that is something I cannot be fussed doing. Not at all. Not on these parts anyway. I'll do it on small things, but when it's a straight line and they're all equally spaced, the chances of getting them all perfectly lined up and perfectly spaced are so slim that it's not worth the risk. Much rather just try and sand the line away and hope I get away with it. Don't go in expecting anything too amazing with Island Savers, but it's like, you know, when you were a fully grown student adult and you used to come home a little bit, let's say, worse for wear, and perhaps watch something like Teletubbies or The Magic Round. It's like that. As an adult, it's like that kind of thing. It's something for kids that's, yeah. As a fully grown adult, you're like, best approach perhaps when you're not in maximum condition. It's just silly fun. Well, I've sanded them a little bit, haven't I? Oh. I can't promise that'll be half decent when the primer and paint go on, but I think we'll have to live with it. It'll have some weathering on it anyway, so we'll just have to hope the weathering hides all the sins. All the sins. Right, anyway, let's do this again. We're in the middle of gluing all these together. We started to. So we need that there. One. That's why I went wrong before. I was assembling a sponson but looking at the instruction for the other side sponson. Because of course you don't know which one you're assembling. Unless you double check. I did not double check. Therefore mistakes were made. Mistakes were definitely made. In fact, it goes there. That one. Checking my other sponsons now. I'm just double checking. No, I got them right. I'm just talking to myself. Yes, I was looking at the wrong instructions. I was building the right sponson, but not necessarily in the right order. A bit more come wise there, you know what I mean. Move this out of the way. Really can't get that tune out of my head. I can't explain to you how pervasive the music is. Can go like that there, you say, like that you say. Lovely, delightful. Oops. I mean, if you just said to me, it's a game made by a bank, I'd be like, oh dear Lord. When you say it's a game made by a bank, but they included pooping animations, I'm like, I have respect for this bank now. I like this bank all of a sudden. Because, I mean, imagine trying to explain to the banks there, saying, we need one of these video games that the kids like to play. You know, the bank executives don't know the first thing about video games. They'll be like, what is this video game thing? So, and then you say, well, we need a poop animation. I think that's quite good. Imagine some crusty old bank execs discussing poop animations. I think the giraffe should have a different poop animation. Yes. The rhino should do more of an acrobatic move when it poops. Yes. Okay, so we have next one done. Pontham. Keep wanting to say pauldron, I don't know why. So that's that one. So we have do. Or let us bring in the vehicle of happiness. Now I've done all 4. I'm not convinced I want 4. I know, I'm an idiot. What? I can't help it. It's in my genes. I'm not convinced I want all 4 now. I don't know. It just... See, that looks good to me. That's got a certain streamlined shape to it. Aircraft-like. I mean, I'm talking Imperial Guard aircraft here, not real-life aircraft. And square and blocky is right. But you put 4 of them on. I don't know. Now, if I had 6... To maybe, but I don't know about. I could put them there, but I don't know. It just kind of kills the line a bit. Of course, if I'm playing a game and I've got 12 heavy bolters, I'm not going to complain about it. I don't know. I'll get them painted up and built anyway. They're not finished yet. We've still got more things to put on them. We've not even finished the sponsons yet. Right, let's have a look. We're up to... I'd like to see Chris, Paul and Fox play the original 80s Gauntlet. Oh dear Lord. If you come across a 120ml bottle of Zoflora concentrated disinfectant, it's good to take paint back to plastic. Cool. Awesome. I might have to try that. EC Idaho is in. Hello, Fox and all. Welcome, EC Idaho. Adventure game was the best. On the far side of the galaxy lies a small planet called Arg, a small planet of little consequence. Now, how's it go? It's like the music starts and it says, something something, on the far side of the galaxy lies Arg, a small planet of little consequence, often visited by time travellers. Naturally, the inhabitants of Arg get a bit fed up with trippers and tend to discourage them. Often, they will even nick the essential crystal from their time machines and hide it. I used to have the theme tune in my big collection of TV theme tunes. Was the theme tune to the adventure game. And of course, who can forget Uncle Aspidistra? That was Uncle Aspidistra. Oh. Now, I didn't know this when I was a kid and used to watch the adventure game. Anybody who wasn't around in the 80s UK won't know what I'm talking about. But I didn't know that all the characters were named after... all the names were basically the word dragon. Anagrams of the word dragon. Because they were all dragons. In human form to be less scary. Raging Modeler. Definitely getting a Squig buggy and doing it in a warm weather metallic purple. Cool. Timothy Kalarko's in. Welcome, Timothy. He says, just finished a Sister Superior. Awesome. That could be taken the wrong way if somebody didn't know we were talking about Warhammer. Just posted up in the boom hut. Awesome. Fox, you want 6 sponsons. I don't think I want to make 2 more sponsons. We're up to Primetime Modelling. Welcome, dude. How you doing, my friend? Rear sponsons should be in rear firing arc, by the way, Foxy. Yeah, no. I could do that. And I've got 4 of them. I could just swap them around. But then they're not designed. Because, you see, that is meant to go there. And lock in place. Same with that or that. So I can put the other one on there. The one that's got on the other side. But I'd have to have it there. Because the sponson is designed to be facing forward at all times. Because that's how they're designed. It's designed to go there, you see. So I could put it on that side again, and I could put this on that. I could swap them around the other way, but it's valid. But I still get two at the front facing forward. But I've not put it in that slot. I've had to put it in this slot, so you get this gap here. So it does work. But remember, this is Warhammer. It's not going to make sense. But there is a reason why it's not that important, because I'll show you in a minute. Because this is the best bit. This is not the entirety of all the weaponry on the sponson. Let's move on to the next step. Hi Fox, doing good, cheers, says Primetime Modelling. Cool Phil. 6, says EC Idaho. Rear sponson should be rear. Oh, we've done that one. 6th sponson, says 9001 ostriches. The adventure game was mint. Everything was an anagram of dragon. Yeah, exactly. Burpage. Now, yes, this isn't the entirety of the sponsons. We've not finished sponsons yet. Do you want to know why? You'll find out now. Let's do a thing. So I need. I've still got the music in my head from Island Savers. It's like getting a bit annoying now when I'm trying to do a proper telly show. So what we need are some parts, gentlemen. Ready your parts. We need the parts. I'm going to assume, and I know that's a terrible thing to do with Warhammer, I'm going to assume that all the parts are in a sensible, making sense type location, and that they are not chiral. I'm going to hope they're just 2 of each. Because if these are chiral, I'm a bit knackered. Because I haven't been paying, I'm just getting them off the spread, I'm not even paying attention. So hopefully both of these things are both the same. Both of these things are both the same. That's terrible. Oh. Well, one of these things is on the floor. There it is. Yeah. I got it. I got it. Doodle 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 doo doo doo. Oh, still in my head. Okay, so snippety snip. Yeah, I think these are going to be fairly easy to put together. I just hope they don't have big gaps like some of the other little turrets. Now, if you had any visions of thinking about these sponsons like an actual real-world armoured vehicle, this is where you need to stop thinking about that in that way, because this is Warhammer. And Warhammer is ridiculousness, diluted and distilled. I mean, sorry, not diluted, but distilled into its perfected form. In Warhammer, it would be reasonable to have a gun that fired guns. So what I'm about to do, or make, is not ridiculous in any way at all. Just be aware, this is Warhammer. This is where any relation to actual real-world armoured vehicles kind of now goes out the window a little bit. In the most glorious of ways, it can only be said. In the most glorious of fashions. But while I'm getting all these bits off, what else can I talk about? I do not know. Just get these bits cleaned up. It might take me, I'll do one of these. It'll take me a while to get the bits cleaned up. But and thank the maker, I don't have to drill out these las cannons. Thank goodness for that. They're a hollow tube. Las cannons always give me a nightmare when you have to drill them out because they're not like normal things. We'll clean the las cannons first. Quick look at chat. So many sponsons, which is a fun word to say. Say it with a lisp. Sponsons. On a non-sponsor related note, I'm really starting to get the hang of how Army Painter paints work. Cool. I've not tried them yet. I have heard tell they're a bit not quite as opaque as GW paints or some Vallejo paints. I've not tried them. I've tried the primers. Quite nice. The Rattlecam primers. Do. Sponsons. It's more fun to say it with a lateral lisp, sponsons, than a normal frontal lisp. Oh dear, I have the sniffles tonight. I'm trying to think of something to talk about. I'm failing miserably. So that's there. Now I need to get rid of the mould line. Put the lid on the glue. Always a winner. With the mould line that goes all the way down the centre of this last cannon. Before I start doing any sandy. It's basically just a big tube. I still find it hilarious that in Warhammer canon, in Warhammer lore, the Imperial Guard, your typical average Imperial Guardsman, is given really crappy armour and a really crappy laser rifle, that kind of doesn't really do anything. And because of this, they're just described as like cardboard soldiers, described as cardboard armour, and the las rifles are called flashlights because they're just so powerless. But the thing I love about it is that in the lore of the game, the weapons and the armour are absolutely terrible. The las rifle does hardly any damage to anything. It barely damages, it won't really do anything to any armoured objects. And it barely does anything to, living bare flesh. And the armour is easily killed. So basically they're unarmed and unarmoured. The weapons are so powerless. But if you were actually brought them into the real world today, they would actually be the most powerful lasers. They'd be more powerful than any laser we've currently got, the las rifles. They'd be some insane powerful. If you had one for real life now, you could just melt through an Abrams tank and you just dissolve somebody if you fired it at them. But they are that powerful. But in 40k, in the universe of 40k, of course, you've got to level everything else up around it. Even though they're that powerful, compared to everything else around them, they're absolutely useless. So a las rifle that powerful is going to do nothing against ceramite armour. So I love that idea that even the lowliest of low Imperial Guard soldiers have weaponry far out beyond anything we've got in the real world today. But in 40k standards, they're absolutely useless and garbage. I love it. I love it. It's just so broken. It's fantastic. So even just this little sponson weapon, this little las rifle, this little las cannon here, would be just vastly in advance of any technology we have today. But in the 40k universe, it's almost pointless. I love it. It's just so awesome. Like, the armour that an Imperial Guardsman wears would protect him against any kind of ballistic damage we could inflict on him. But wouldn't protect him against anything in the 40k universe. It's almost like in the real world here now, a guardsman will be almost an unstoppable killing machine, given his weaponry and armour, or a Baneblade or something. But in the 40k universe, in context, they're just complete garbage. I love that. That's so funny. I find it vastly amusing. Vastly amusing. Because I think they did in some of the lore, they did publish information once in various places about the power of the lasers and things in las rifles and stuff like that, and it was based on real world sort of units, so you could see how powerful I think, and I vaguely remember anyway, somebody worked it out to be like, it's more powerful than any lasers we've got today, even the ones that are built into warships to take down missiles, vastly, and they've got it in a rifle, but yet they fire it at an orc and nothing happens. You know, your las rifle's not going to do any damage to a fully armoured Chaos Space Marine. Put in ceramite armour. I just think it's funny, that's all. You're in the Guard now, son. Because the Imperial Guard, the blob troops, you know, the rank and file cannon fodder troops, they are just disposable fodder. They're not intended to be anything other than just a heaving mass of bodies to throw at the enemy to exhaust them, to, you know, lead a war of attrition. Because, you know, the idea is that there are millions and millions of Imperial worlds, and the Imperial Guard is just made up of normal people. They're not enhanced super, they're just rank and file chuds. So, you know, the average lifespan of a guardsman is like weeks. It really is a case of you just conscript them from hundreds and thousands of planets. They've got trillions of, like, guards, men and women. The numbers are in the billions or trillions. You know, the Empire can literally afford to just throw 1 billion Imperial Guard on a planet and say, turn the tide of the battle by just all throwing yourself on the enemy's bullets. Quite literally. And I think in the lore, a lot, not all factions, not all chapters, but I think the rank and file Imperial Guard, although they're kind of the butt of all the jokes because their equipment is so poor, by the same token, they often get a lot of admiration from many of the chapters of Space Marines because they are so underpowered and so under-equipped, and yet they can be so tenacious and brave with it. You know, it's easy being a Space Marine and being all fearless because you're designed to be fearless. But to be that fearless when you're just a lowly Imperial Guard chud, I think the Space Marines, some chapters of Space Marines, like Salamanders and things like that, can see them as worthy of their respect for their courage. Oh, sniffly nose, good God. It's because I'm wearing my glasses with my lenses on. Quick look at chat. Hi Fox, doing good, cheers, says Phil. Oh, we've done that one. I am home now, so I'm within. Hello Fox, hi everyone, says Edward. Hello Edward, how are you doing, my friend? B3, cut the locking piece off, enough glue, it will be fine. Yeah, I don't want to glue them on though. It means like just cut the locking piece off and I can put these anywhere. I want them to be just like plonk, and then you don't have to glue them on. So I don't need to magnetize them. I don't need to glue them on. Raging Model asks Timothy if it's not. It says it's not just me, is it? Are the army painters really thin? Yeah, they are supposed to be a bit less opaque than, say, Games Workshop paints. Timothy says, of course Warhammer is over the top of it. An entire army is made up of leather-clad dominatrices with flamethrowers. Be still my beating heart. Fox, my faux hammer, says B3. Steve made a gravity-plated Baneblade, so gravity floating Baneblade with more. Is basically it's a Baneblade controlled by my brain's gone. I can't think of the word. Walking thing. What's it? It's the Dreadnought. My Fairhammer has 6 sponsons and many turrets and more weapons than I can be bothered to count, and will easily have yours in a fight. Quite possibly. Mine's only got the normal standard number of guns on it. You might have a challenge with Chris's though, because Chris has extra guns on his guns. After doing my first lot of weathering the other day, says Paul Lyons, I really want my AK weathering pencils to turn up so I can try them out, as I'm really enjoying damaging a model. Yeah, if you've never done weathering before and you've just started doing it, weathering isn't for everybody. There are a lot of people that don't like the weathered look. They like their models to be clean, and it's often people who do things like motorbikes and sports cars, and that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. I've gouged that. I didn't want to do that. It makes perfect sense that if you're doing some big swanky sports car, you're not going to do a weather job on it. I didn't want to do that. I've gouged it now and it might cause problems later on. We'll find out. But there are people that do just normal things, you know, not things like that, things like tanks and planes and other stuff that haven't done weathering before. And it's funny how many people do it for the first time. They're like, oh, it makes my models look so much more cool. And it does. But the thing to remember about weathering is it's not, you know, if you're doing a car, doing weathering on a car doesn't mean you have to make it look like a rally car that's been through a muddy channel and through fjords. Weathering could just be a light dusting of a buff colour just at the bottom of a car, just to give it a hint of road dust, just a tiniest hint. It could be, you know, adding a little bit of chipping on one thing on a model. You know, it could be the tiniest hint of, it doesn't have to be layers of mud and dirt and rust and wear and tear. You know, not everything is battered and beaten. But unless it's sitting on a factory floor or in a showroom and never been touched, most things have some dirt and dust on them. You know, and it could be, if you're making a vintage car, for example, you're making, say, a vintage vehicle of some sort, you might make it nice and clean, but it might have wood panelling, and you want to add some life to the wood panelling, so you give it a grain. That's technically kind of classed as weathering. It adds to the weathering. So, you know, you might do a car and have a little bit of fading on the leather seats, perhaps, just to suggest people getting in and out and wearing the leather away. That's weathering. It all adds up. Weathering doesn't just mean mud and dirt and rust and chips, and it can be, or it can just be, here's an object and here's a footplate that everybody stands on to get into the cockpit or the cab, and oh look, some of the paint's worn away because that's where everybody's size line boot goes every time they get in. So it doesn't, you don't have to do weathering, and there's places where you don't want to do weathering. But it can, if it's something that in real life would have some wear and tear on it, it can work wonders. And I've still got that tune in my head. I think Mayhem feels fine. I think he's just gone off to play Island Savers. I think that's what he's done. I think there's nothing wrong with him at all. I think he's gone off. He's like, oh, I'm playing this now. Bye. So yeah, it always pleases me when somebody says, I've done weathering for the first time and I'm really enjoying it. Aside from the fact it can make things look a bit more lived in and alive, it's just fun. It's not hard to do. It's almost impossible to mess up, because if you put on too much mud, you just say there's more mud. If you go a bit crazy with the chipping, well, you just say it's been sat out for years. It's been sat out for years and it's rusted. You do more weathering and make it look more weathered. That's the beauty of it. You can't really do too much weathering, because your weathering tells a story. That goes there. Now, which one is which? Which is which? I guess that is those two. That will be these two. These two, them's two, theirs, like that, you see? Makes sense. So we'll put them there. That there, and that there, and that there. That's the beauty of weathering. Like I say, you might start off like, you know, that transit van I did, it wasn't quite going to be quite as badly weathered as it was. It just ended up that way. It was going to look a bit weathered and worn and rusted, but I got a bit carried away with the chipping. But that wasn't a bad thing. It just meant I had to make it look more old, more damaged. Weathering tells a story. And I have to say, I do see people making rally cars, and you know, and they're all pristine and they look really nice. But to me, a rally car without a layer of mud and dirt, it just seems wrong. I don't know why, but to me, a rally car should be covered in mud and dirt, because it's a rally car. They're always mucky pups. That's the point of that's what rally car is all about. Mud and dirt and grime and mess. I'm glad you're enjoying the weathering anyway. He says, going off on a tangent there. Right, let's get this bit cleaned up. We'll get at least one of these done. But there are some models that don't lend themselves to weathering. Like I say, if you're making, spanky sports, if you're building like a Ferrari Testarossa, you're probably not going to weather it because it would look a bit weird. When I made the Master Grade Unicorn Full Armour Gundam, or Full Armour Unicorn Gundam, I struggled with the weathering for a long time and gave up in the end because it just didn't seem to... It screamed at me that it didn't want to be weathered. I'm like, yeah, it just doesn't feel right weathering it. Like a Zaku needs to be battered and rusted because it's a crappy grunt suit. But the Unicorn Gundam just didn't seem to... No. Weathering it didn't sit well with me. Not well at all. Okay, so with that, there's quite a few pieces for these little extra sponsored bits. It's quite nonsense. It's quite the nonsensical nonsense. The back, front, or side. One of them. One of them. Oh. Seems like a lot of parts for one little component, but never mind. So that goes on there, that goes on. Now, does that stick up or does it stick down? Again, we've got this chamfered turret, but with no indication as to which way it's supposed to face. I think it faces upwardsly. Like this, I think. Well, I've decided that's the way it's going to face. In for a penny. In for a pound. And there. We have to apply the last canonium, which will go in there like that, we'll see. Lovely. Nope. Do. As we did with the big turret, I want to dry fit this just to exactly how that does work. Because I don't want the gun to be pointing down by default. That would not be awesome. Oops. That would sit like that. I did it that way. I think that's upside down. Oh, tenacious grip. Better. Yeah, there's a slight slope. The plate that this plate that the cannon goes on, that the last cannon goes on, sits on a block on this round bit, and it's got an angle to it. It's not just, it either sits like that or like that, depending on which way around you do it. And there's no clear indication on the instructions as to which way is the correct way. That's why I did that little dry fit just then, just to put it together and see. If I do it that way, I think it's that way. Which I won't remember for the next one. I've forgotten already. So, and it might not be. I might have got the wrong way around, but it doesn't tell you in the instructions, which is not ideal. It's not ideal, is it? Really, not really. Here's the fast glue on this one, the fast acting glue. Get that in there. A little bit. It's like a Dalek. Oh, fast acting my bum. The human will observe. What a Dalek would say. The humans will obey the Daleks. I can't think of it. Apart from saying exterminate, I can't think of a classic Dalek line right now. Distance to target 30 rels. I don't think they sound that posh. Yeah, that went a bit posh, didn't it? Right, so now we need to make the little turrety bit. Which goes a bit like this. Goes a little something like this. Oh, Pingatron, that's me. Just get some glue on that. Sometimes that extra fast setting glue just doesn't seem to want to stick very well at all. Now I'm not going to worry about keeping these cannons rotatable and spin up. Oh no, no, look at that, it's drooping down. See, it wasn't that way around. It was the other way around. No, it must be. Come on, Games Workshop, you're messing with my chi now. If I put that the other way around, that, and when that sits in place, it's always going to point up. Now it's upside down. What? This makes literally no sense. Right, well, I'm beyond caring now. We'll just glue it in, and we'll glue it into a position, and that's the position it will have. That way around there. Yeah, the directions are sometimes not the clearest. They don't give you any guidance. If you're going to give a piece that has a specific orientation, you should at least tell the builder which way to orient it. Kind of annoying. That's worse there. Yeah, that's worse. Luckily I can just keep taking it apart. And I'm going to glue them in place, so it doesn't really matter. I can just glue them all pointing up at the end of the day. It is not a problem. As I'm just about to do there. Bit of touch of glue just to get that in. Bad time to need to scratch my nose. Scratching my nose now. Glue that in place like that, you see. I'm not bothered if the turrets aren't, you know, poseable. I'm not interested in that. Oh, sponge. It's a nice that they give you the option of having them, you know, pointable. You can position the weapons and stuff, but honestly, when you're playing the game, it's not something you'll be doing anyway. I'm pretty sure most people don't actually point the weapons at the target and say, I'm shooting at this with this. No, they just roll the dice and play. I think if you're doing that, your opponent will just have beaten you around the head with the dice tower by that point. Doodle doo, doodle 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 doo 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 doo. Roof on the top. We'll put the back on first. That's always a winner. Okay, now these do seem to be going together a lot better than the little turret I put on the glasses plate area. This seems a bit more amenable to not having great big gaps everywhere. I just narrowly avoided a great big fingerprint. Just narrowly. There we go. Yeah, this does seem to be a much nicer fit. A little bit of sanding under the bottom there. That lid will go on the top. Which way down does it go? Off now. Oh, boom. You come out there. There we go. So that can go on there. Plink, plink. Plonk, plonk. A little bit of that and this. Into the hole you go. Into the hole you go. Or not. As the case may be. Better. That hole you go. Yeah, I need to let that sit for a minute. But basically, what happens is you've got your sponson, okay? And on top of your sponson, you have a turret. No, that's why you don't need to worry about the sponsors not pointing backwards, because you have a gun on a gun that's on the side of a gun. That is just the best thing ever. Now, the attachment point for these is not great. You've got this little tiny dimple there, and you've got this, which slots through, which I haven't cleaned up. Fudge. But if you were to magnetise that, it'd be a bit tricky. A bit tricky. Bit of a filey have her. So all this does, it just sits in there like that. It doesn't lock into place, it doesn't hold it down, and it only sticks out a little bit, so it's a bit rum. It's going to slide off at the most. So if you've got the entire tank here, now if I'm not gluing these on, it just kind of sits like that. Now, I'm not bothered about it being rotatable, but I might, have one pointing that way and one pointing forwards, perhaps. But it's still a bit. Yes, I mean you could be forgiven for putting a magnet in there, snipping that back, and sticking a magnet under here. That'd be an option. I'll probably just glue it in place because I can't be bothered. But this is just my test build for me. But we shall not glue anything. I'll glue this piece in here. I won't glue it onto the bottom, so I'll glue that there. So it's not going to come out. So that peg will stay in place. As a permanent thing. But then I've got the option, if I want to later on, I could glue it in place if I needed to. So we've done that one. Yeah. To in chat, let's have a look. Swig of water. Don't forget about the orcs and WAR energy. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, orcs who can make things work just because they believe they can work. Reggie Modeler says, I really need to work on my blends. They've got better, but I'm still not happy. But I'm never happy with anything I create. That's because you're not an arse. People that create something and say, this is perfection. I can do no better than this. This is the best thing ever. They're idiots. And they deserve just your derision. A true artist hates everything he does or she does. A true artist hates everything they've created and sees imperfection everywhere in all their own work. Oh, I need to wipe my nose again. 1 second. Rank and file soldiers with laser weapons and armour of sorts used as cannon fodder. Where have I heard that before? In a galaxy far, far away. Well, no, because the average Revel soldier's blaster is just as powerful as everybody else's blaster. Whereas Imperial Guard, they really are just being sent into battle with cardboard armour and a flashlight. Would love to make a Baneblade with repulsor units in place of tracks, says EC Idaho. Ask Steve B3 about that. He says, it's easy. Just buy some repulsor plates off eBay and don't put the tracks on. Don't cut up a Baneblade and repulsor like I did. That way is madness. Also expensive. Time for bed for me, says Steve. Cheers, Fox. No Star Gang. Take care, my friend. Pop ping. Probably come. All that. Ambulance. I met a Dalek at Telford Comic Con a few years back. I met a Dalek at the Manchester Science and Industry Museum years ago. They had a Doctor Who exhibit, and they had a bloke. They had a Dalek pootling around, saying things, and there was if you look carefully, you could see it off in the distance. There was a bloke in the crowd who was very carefully trying to be hidden. Had a tiny little remote control unit. He's like this. He's moving it around. And he's just kind of walking around with it hidden, so you can't see. He just looks like somebody in the crowd. He's trying to hide away and blend in, so you can't see him. But you could see him running his little tiny remote control unit to operate this Dalek. It's great. Favourite Doctor Who episode? Asylum of the Daleks. I tell you what creeps me out. The first time I ever saw this is going back to, I think it was the Fourth Doctor. Might have been before the Fourth Doctor, might have been before then, but the first time you ever saw the Emperor Dalek, which is like a normal Dalek with the massive round head. Enormous, and it's like, for some reason, that just creeped me the F out. I don't know, because it's like a normal Dalek, but with an enormous head. I was like, oh, I don't know why that creeps me out. It just did. It was like, oh, I don't like that. I don't know. One of my childhood friends had a Dalek in his house, which his dad bought off the BBC in the 1970s. There was a house near me a few roads down where they had a full-size Dalek in the porch. They had like, you go down a little driveway and there's some steps up to a front door. Because it was like one of the front doors, like a big house, big old Victorian house. And they had a Dalek up at the top of the steps. I don't know if it was a real prop one or just one they made themselves. I've got no idea. I have no idea about these matters. I loved in the Matt Smith story, I don't remember the name of the episode, where the one with the Spitfires in space and would you like a cup of tea? That one with Thingy's Ironsides, the Daleks all being like subservient as a ruse. And when he goes on the ship and he's there with his jammy dodger, which he says his detonation device. But you've got the new Daleks. Those are like ones that appeared once. The iDalek. They were kind of the Apple Dalek design. And the design was all right. They were massive. They were like 8 foot tall. But the thing that struck me about them was the one that did all the speaking. The main one in charge of these like ones that were created in the ship. They gave it a slightly different voice compared to regular Daleks, but it was massively bassy and deep, and it was kind of like, it was like a Merlin engine. It was like speaking through a Merlin engine, and I remember watching it, and they looked slick and stylish, which wasn't really Dalek-y at all. They were all kind of, cool design. I thought, well, they've got kind of Apple design to them, but then the voice came out. And it was this deep, guttural, throbbing, and it was, it's a great voice, that was. Much better than any other Dalek voice. It was like the evilest of Dalek voices, and that was fantastic. And then they never brought them back. And I'm like, that was the best ever Dalek voice. It really was like the sound of a Merlin engine combined with a human voice through a vocoder, and that was your Dalek. It was like, whoa, that was a good voice, that was. And then they never brought it back. Oh well. It was powerful and jarring, arresting. Explain. There was, I have to tell you as well, did anybody watch the little animated series called Daleks that was on YouTube about 3 weeks ago? It's still there. It came out over Christmas. Called Daleks or something. And it was absolutely terrible. Visually. The story was quite good, but it's the worst the worst CGI animation I have ever seen. I mean, I've seen Ultramarines, the 40k movie, Warhammer 40,000 Ultramarine. That's the worst movie ever made, animated movie ever made. Apart from this Daleks thing, oh god, it was terrible. It was like, it was animated by people who've never done animation. It was like somebody bought a load of real basic STL files off Shapeways and then tried to convert them into something they could animate in Maya or something. It's like, oh dear, that was terrible. It was terrible. The story was fine, but yeah, it was no. I mean, we're not even talking 1994 PS1 era graphics here. We're just talking like, you remember when they used to show you computer graphics in the 1980s and said, this is the future, and it was terrible. Like, watching like Money for Nothing, the music video for Money for Nothing, is like that. And I'm like, why was this even given the green light? It's produced by some teenager in his bedroom and it's terrible. What? Yeah, don't watch it. It's. I was quite surprised that most of the comments weren't just complaining about the quality of the visuals, because if it wasn't Doctor Who and was any other official license, everybody would be just screaming in the comments about how garbage it was. But it was, strangely, mostly we're just praising it for the story. But the story was quite good. But yeah, God, the visuals. I think it was just called Daleks with an exclamation mark. Or something like that. No, I didn't quite didn't quite sand the mould line off the front plate of the other turret, so I'll have to make sure I go back and sort that out at some point. I can easily access it, so it's not a problem. Oh, I'm going to do a big burp then, and it was tiny. It was not a big burp, I'm afraid. My big burp was rubbish. It was rubbish. Now we've got the same issue here with the gun. Don't need that. Not wanting to know which way, not being told which way to point it, so we shall have to wing it and see. Suck it and see. Oh, with the dropping. Get this glued on. See what happens. We shall have a quick look at the chattings. Sit there for a moment. We should do a quick dry fit of this just to make sure which way around we want the doobie-doo to do. That way. I think we're going to have to glue it on and then place it, aren't we? It's going to be the other way, so it's that way. Okay. That way, I think. I don't know. Let's try that way. I don't know why I'm whispering. And I also put that down. I didn't pay attention to it. I'll just glue it on. I can move it if I need to. Not that way. Not that way. I don't know which way is the right way. It really doesn't tell you. Oh well, we'll do it that way and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing much really. There isn't a worst. Still got that tune in my head. Play the game. Trust me. Island Savers. And then tell me in a week's time how the menu music is not stuck in your head. Diddly bomb, super match game. Super match game, boom. I remember many years ago, in the days of Spitting Image, you know you're a successful TV music theme tune writer when Spitting Image do a sketch about you. There was a Spitting Image sketch about the guy that wrote all the theme tunes for like Blankety Blank, because if you're in the UK you know what that is, Blankety Blank and stuff, and how like I think the sketch was that everything he ever wrote was always blankety blank, basically. Doodle-doo-doo, but in just different words. And that was the joke, that he could only ever write the one tune. But it's like, imagine being the guy that wrote the theme tune. Because you never get recognised for anything. It's not for light entertainment nonsense. And yet here's Spitting Image doing a sketch about you. Must have made his day. It's always nice when you get recognition. My dad was nominated for a BAFTA. We have the trophy downstairs, and that was he didn't win. That doesn't really matter, because it meant a lot that he was nominated. He was well made up with that. We got a little glass statue of a swan. You get a little, if you're nominated, you get a little glass statuette as a prize for being nominated. And then if you win, this is back in the late 80s. And then if you won the BAFTA, obviously you get the BAFTA award itself. He was nominated. Got the glass swan, but then didn't win the award. So he didn't get the BAFTA. That would have been amazing. Yeah, so we've got a BAFTA nomination trophy downstairs in the cabinet. That's his proudest moment, I think. He would happily tell you, well, he wouldn't now, he's been dead for 20 years, but then he would have happily told you that was his proudest achievement. Long career. And a bit of recognition. How many people can say that? They've got a BAFTA downstairs. A BAFTA. Yeah, it's not actually a BAFTA. It's what you get alongside the BAFTA if you win the BAFTA as well. Quite get the BAFTA. Shame. He was robbed. He was not. That's that one. So I shall glue that in place. Still got that tune in my head. Kaplunk, that's 2 of them done. What time are we on? 11:05. Way up to Paul Di Tommaso saying, exterminate, exterminate, exterminate. I think that was a Pertwee episode with the Emperor Dalek, or maybe even Troughton. Davros was introduced early in Tom Baker. Yeah, it might have been a Pertwee one, I think. Although I don't know, Pertwee was always on Earth, though, wasn't he? A lot of it, so. Yes, I like the iDaleks, actually, and the new updated ones. I did like them, but yeah, the voice of the one that was in charge, the main one, I think it was the black and white one, that came out with this massive, because they've got the shrill sounding kind of like voice, haven't they? Which is like it's a Mickey take of any dictator ever who like bangs the podium and shouts, and you know who it's. I'm not going to say it out loud for monetization purposes, but you know who it's a rip-off of, that voice, that shouting style. But this one was like, it was very, very deep, and wow, it was very good. Need to have another Cyberman Dalek fight, or one where the Cyberman will wear later marks. Yeah. My best friend and I are discussing purchasing resin printers. Kind of want to save a tiny bit of money in this damned hobby. There's Timothy Kalarko, Burpage, thank you. Have a chat with Colin, Festa67's workshop. He'll tell you all about resin printers. If he's still watching, if he's still in chat, Colin. Timothy would like some advice. Or hit him up in the Boom Hut, because he's in the Boom Hut. Cole knows about your resin printers. I'd have a clue. Only you will know it's upside down. Well, I've got them tilted up a little bit, so nobody will know anyway. It's all hidden with dimensionality. Look at the dimensionality. The bloke who wrote the Blake Off music and for The Apprentice. What? Oh, Bake Off music. And I don't know what. Oh, Bake Off. I know. Admit. I'll start that again. Zadster says, I know, admittedly not very well, the bloke who wrote the Bake Off music and the music for The Apprentice. Cool. I did some work for some guy once when I was doing detailing. We were working on his cars, and we went in to talk to him at one point. He was in this like converted barn, and he had this like a farmhouse, and there was a converted barn. You walk in the barn, it's a recording studio, and he was like doing some TV kids series music. And I'm like, oh, it's the guy that does the music for whatever it was at the time. I can't remember now. It's like 8 years ago. He was a lovely bloke. Surprisingly well paid. I love the chicken song. Oh, no, I remember that. Wave a chicken in the... Yeah, I remember that. Getting recognised by your peers, like, that is a huge thing, says Sadster. Absolutely. Just got here, how much did I miss? I have built the final 2 sponsons. I shall show you with the looking and the showing. I've not done a lot. We now have 4 sponsons. We have sponsons totaling 4. But I've also built, because that's not the complete sponson arrangement, because somebody did say, yeah, but all the sponsons point forward. Aha, because on top of this, yeah, there's more guns. On top of the guns, there's guns, and the guns point. So this one goes round like that, you see. So if your orcs are coming that way, you might not be able to throw a billion rounds of bolter rounds at them, but you can get them with a pew-pew. So we've got them too. I've got to do 2 more now for this side. So we got them. That's as far as we got. Yeah, so far. Where are we up to? Also, I never met a nice South African. God, I forgot about that. All these spitting image songs. I remember my dad, because my dad was a television cameraman. And one of the funniest things he saw on Spitting Image was where they had a puppet for a cameraman. Like whenever they had like a press thing with the press having an interview, and there was a guy with a camera. And the cameraman had one normal eye and one enormous eye, because the enormous eye is the one that's in the viewfinder. So they had him behind the camera, and he was just in the background. And there's a guy with a television camera, and the guy looks out from around the back, and he's got one normal eye and one enormous eye. And Dad thought that was the most funniest thing ever. Nobody else would have noticed that, but my dad did. A Spitting Image song is just the music from Agadir, pretty much. The video made me on my MacBook. I'll check tomorrow. Sounds almost like the Addams Family theme. Catch a ride, says Sarah Jane. Hey, Sarah Jane. Catch a ride, now more than 35%, more than 74% less dangerous than anything else. I can't think of any scooter lines now. I can't do them very loudly because it's too late at night to do loud things. So, should we see if we can get one more little turret done? I think we can get one more done before we go home. Tonight. Before we go for homey time and bedtime and stuff. That over there. One more little turret done. Because we have 4 of them today. So we'll go snippety snip. I'm getting the hang of these now. I can do them quite quickly, hopefully. It won't take too long. Do. Clink, clink. Do. Has anybody now downloaded Island Saver? I assume it's on PC as well. I don't know. Who's downloaded it? Who's going to play it? Trust me, you'll love it. You will love it. It's silly. It's childish. You should always go and download it now. Well, not right now, because you're watching me now, but, you know. If you're on Xbox, you could download it in half an hour. 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It won't take long. It's not a very big game. The good thing is, because I've got the spares sprue, it means I get like twice as many exhausts and I get loads of extra weapons. I get double the barrels. I could apply more barrels to that. I've got double the aerials. I could have more aerials. I've got spare wheels. Loads of little spare things I could put all over this tank if I wanted to. Actually, we've got to... Oh, I just remembered I've got to sand... I'll have to clean up the... Oh, I forgot. I'll also have to clean up the last cannon, won't I? So it might not be that quick a job. See if we can get it done. Snip. Snip. That's all the parts. Yes, I think so. Let's get the last cannon done first. The fiddly bit out of the way. My official unsheathing of the blade sound. I don't know why I said that. Gentlemen, unsheath your blades. Ooh. I'll do the bladey stuff now first. Oh, wait, have I just... I didn't cook 2 of them off. You spoon, fox. You simpleton. I don't do the blade bit first, I need to do the nipper bit first. Then we do the blade bit. I'm all a tizzy now. I never did bench and belly, did I? Well, bench obviously is this. Belly was KFC tonight. After watching Festa 67's workshop and Dad over at Scaly Models doing their stream this afternoon. Mum Fox, right, what do you want for dinner? And she went, KFC. And I went, okay, not going to argue. Mum Fox wants KFC. It's KFC. Means I don't have to cook anything. It's not good for me in terms of health, but I don't have to cook anything, so there's that. I don't need to worry about these. You're not going to see that bit too much. So I'm not so worried about that particular piece, nub removal and such. Do it. 28 people watching. Welcome to you all. Hope you're all having a jolly evening this evening. Anybody who wasn't here at the start, I thought I'd just hop in because there's no e-model show tonight. There wasn't one. I thought I'd just hop on for an hour and a half or 2 and give you a bit of company for an hour and a bit. But I'd have nothing in it. Got to tell you though, I really can't wait for the day when I earn enough doing this nonsense that I can afford to pay someone to be my glamorous assistant. One day, hopefully, my dream is that I make enough money doing this that I can have someone, get one of my mates to work with me, pay them, say, ditch your crappy job and come and work for me. And apart from the fact I get them to do all the camera work, you know, focusing and lighting and stuff so I can just make the building and painting, I'd also get them to be the chat dolly. Because Eddie Neris nearly got Stabberty then, because this would be a lot better. Live streams would be much better if there was permanently someone there to just read the chat. That's the problem, you see. There isn't. When you're doing it by yourself, it's just you and yourself, and that's it. Me, myself, and I. Where's me? There it is. There is no chat dolly. There is no person to do the camera work. But it would be brilliant. I'd love to be able to turn to my mate and say, right, you know, you've got that crappy office job. Yeah, I want to pay you to come and work for me. What will it involve? Sit around, make models, be a chat dolly, work my camera. That's it. If you're only good at editing, maybe do the editing as well. If not, I'll do it. And he'd be like, I'm on 20 grand a year now, and I'd be like, well, I can't pay you that, assuming that I couldn't, you know, I can't pay you that, but you never have to have a crappy office job ever again. But trust me, your job will literally be sitting around, occasionally doing a bit of camera work. When I'm not filming, you can just do your own builds, or play video games, or just do editing, or whatever. Would you rather do that, or would you rather sit in an office with some jerk of a boss asking you for reports and telling you off? I think I know what his answer would be. I doubt I'll ever get to that level though. I mean, that's proper YouTubers who earn a lot of money kind of level there. But that's what I would dream for, is get to the point where I earn enough through doing this that I can actually have someone to do the camera stuff for me. Because don't underestimate anybody out there thinking about doing kind of YouTube for a living like this, or just doing it as a hobby even. This kind of, you know, tutorial filming that we and, you know, me and Ted and Chris and Colin and everybody do. Don't ever think of it as an easy ride, because it's not. I mean, it's not hard, don't get me wrong, it's not difficult. And at first it's brilliant. But you have to keep in mind if you typically sit down and spend 3 or 4 days painting a figure for a proper real good paint job, now you've got to make that 2 weeks, because you've got to do all that and also keep stopping and starting to film it and get the lighting and adjust the focus and make sure everything's lined up, and you've got to make sure you're in shot, and it takes the edge away sometimes. So imagine if I could just, I like to imagine one day I just sit down at the bench, somebody else takes care of the camera and the lighting, I just sit down, I have my mark there where I can hold my thing up, and I just work, I just paint, I just build, and they take care of all the editing and stuff. That would be a dream come true, because then I could just churn content out. That would be fabtabulous. That's my goal one day. So I've been doing this for what, 6 years? Not anywhere near there. No, not really. But one day, you never know, one day. That's the idea. Oh, I've got the burps today. I've got Kentucky Fried Burps. Burpulatory. That's looking pretty spectacular. Still got that music in my head. I blame Kiwi the parrot. If you play the game, you'll know who Kiwi the parrot is. Yeah, the way they in Island Savers, the way they explain loan sharks. I'm not going to spoil it in case you want to play it, but knowing what a loan, as an adult, knowing what a loan shark is, the way they introduce the loan shark and explain it to you is actually really well done. And the way they explain the consequence of dealing with the loan shark is like, oh, you deviant, oh, that's cruel. It's quite clever in a very simple, subtle way, because it's aimed at little kids. But it's like, oh, that's harsh. Because I struck a deal with the loan shark. I'm like, okay, because I know what a loan shark is. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to end well. And then when it came time to do some repayments, I'm like, oh, that's harsh. Oh, that's devious. Devious. Now you understand. And it never actually ever says this is why loan sharks are bad. It just leaves you to it. Basically, I don't want to spoil it in case you want to play it, but it doesn't ever say loan sharks are bad, don't go to loan sharks. It just puts you in a position where you use a loan shark and you get the consequences for yourself, and then it's left to you to understand. You know, if you're an idiot, you won't see what was so bad about it. If you're not an idiot, you'll be like, yeah, I'm not going to use that loan shark again, because I understand why I don't need to use that loan shark. It's quite clever the way they do it. It's quite clever, especially for a game for kids. It's quite intelligent the way they do that. Devious little bar stewards. All the meantime, all the while, delightful music playing in the background. Deviosity. Ultimate deviosity. But it's like, you know, there's a bit where somebody cons you out of some money, and they handhold you and they explain, oh, you spoke to him and you bought this from him, and that's why you shouldn't just trust anybody with your money, because you can't trust anybody, you know. He was a devious con man, and they have to explain it to you. But with the loan shark, they don't explain anything. They put you in a position where you have to deal with a loan shark, and you have to interpret the consequences yourself. And it's like, we're not going to get involved in you with that one. That's up to you, dude. You want to do business with him, you're going to experience the consequences firsthand. It's quite devious the way they do it. I was like, oh, I'm an adult and I find that devious. Right, here we go again. Random guess time. Which way around they want me to do it. Let's go for this one first. I'll do. And that one here, like this. We'll see. Clickety click, in it goes. In there. Touch of the old gluteries. Gluulations. Glue in there, bit of glue in there. A little bit, just has got a bit of upward pointing happiness. You've got a big gun, you should always point it upwards a little bit. The ladies do like that. Oh, I know what the ladies like. Halo reference, before anybody gets angry. Quote from Halo. You're not familiar with it. Master Chief with his female AI Cortana's there, and they're talking to someone, and suddenly they're talking to the sergeant. He says, "We need to go and kill these dudes," and a tank drops from a dropship, big ass tank. Cortana says to the sergeant, along the lines of, "Thank you very much. He never gives me anything." I mean, you, the main player, he never gives me anything. Sergeant Johnson in the back of the Pelican, he cocks the big gun. He's like, "Oh, I know what the ladies like." In the days when Halo games were good. "Thanks for the tank, Sergeant. He never gives me anything." "Oh, I know what the lady." Not fitting, not fitting. Fitting. There's my little, I've got my little pin. Pin time. I'll get this done and then we shall call it a show, I think. Is there. That is there. I shall drop the pin forthwith on the floor. There we go. Can sit in there. Glue that in place. There we go. There's another little turret done. Fantabulous tier. Right, so there we are. That's done. Lovely jubbly. We'll put that on gently in place, just have it somewhere. There we go. So you can start to see now how this is going to look. I feel a bit better about the extra sponson. Now I've got these cannons on the top. I've got one more to build. I still think that looks more streamlined, if such a thing is possible for a Baneblade. That's going to come out looking pretty good. But I think that's going to do us. Thank you very much everyone for watching. It's only going to be a short show today, an hour and a half or so. That's going to do us though, because I need to go to bed soon. But I hope this kept you distracted in the absence of the e-model show for an hour and a bit. As always, folks, don't forget, if you would like to help support this channel and keep this channel alive and make it possible for me to keep making content for you, then please do consider either becoming a patron at patreon.com/modelmakingguru. The address is just there. Or you can become a channel member by hitting the join button at the bottom of any one of my videos. Either way, you'd be supporting the channel directly. You'd be helping pay my wages, keep the lights on, keep food on my table, and you'd make it possible for me to keep making content for you. Just seen a super chat there. Wayne Ward, oh, $20. Wayne, thank you very much. Thank you, Fox, for all the help. You have taught me so much about modelling and Skyrim and Fallout 4. I am still going through past video archives, and you teach me more every day. Stay safe. Wayne, thank you massively. You could also do a super chat, by the way, if you want to help support the channel. Wayne, thank you. That's very, very kind of you, my friend. I really appreciate that. You're more than welcome, and I hope there's lots more in there that can put learnings in your brain. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind. But yeah, you can do that, or you can become a patron or a channel member. Channel members and patrons get access to a lot of my video content a week early and a week in advance, advert free, when I do proper recorded video stuff. So do, keep that in mind. But don't forget, of course, I've also got my Amazon store, links in the description below the video. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. If there's something you need to order online and it's not in my Amazon store, just give me a shout. I can add it for you very quickly, and it doesn't cost you any extra, but it helps me earn a little income from that as well. But that's going to do it. I think I will be back tomorrow night with Chris for some Destiny. All being well, hopefully. So you should see me tomorrow night for some Destiny good times, me and Chris. Trying on some more Destiny shootings. Hopefully, anyway. I think we should be on for it. And then, again, throughout the course of the week, I'll try and get some work done on the Lehman Rust. But I keep saying that, and I keep not doing it because other things get in the way. I know. Real life is a pain in the bum sometimes. But I will, of course, be back on Thursday and Friday for some... on Friday and Saturday for some Fallout, for some Skyrim, or some Elite, if my controller's working. And I possibly might come and do something with Colin, but I don't know yet. Me and Fester might do something through the week, but we'll see. But until then, that's going to do us. So thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. I'll just make sure my buttons are still working.
Slap it on.
Yeah, Ted's still working, so my buttons are going. Thank you very much for watching. Wayne, thank you very much for your very, very kind super chat. I've not seen you in chat before, but welcome, welcome. You're more than welcome to hang out and chat with us. Yeah, take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome like this. We've got still much more to do on this. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. And until next time, don't forget, if you need to go out, wear a mask. Take care, everyone. Adios, amigos.